This video is going to be a tabletop review of the BK2 Becker Campanion knife. The overall length of the knife is 10.5 inches long and it weighs 14.6 ounces. It has a 5 1/4 inch long blade and it's 1/4 inch thick black epoxy powder coated 1095 carbon steel. These knives used to be produced by Camillus but are now being manufactured by K-Bar, and for around $60 that's an excellent knife. There were just a couple traits from the factory that I didn't like about the knife. First off, with the Gravois scales. They seem like they'd be very slick if the knife got wet or if your palms are sweaty while you're doing bushcraft. And then to the sheath, I didn't like this drop-down belt attachment. If you're wearing utility or cargo pants and wearing this in a drop-down fashion, you lose the use of one of your cargo pockets. And if you wear this on a normal belt, this gets in the way of the knife when you're resheathing it. This large belt loop was a problem. If you were wearing deuce gear or a duty belt, it's perfectly fine. It allows you to get the knife or the sheath over the buckle. But I found that if I was kneeling down or if I was getting in and out of a vehicle, that the knife would rise up and the handle of the knife would poke me in the waist and was very uncomfortable. Lastly, the plastic portion of the sheath doesn't retain the knife very well without the use of the thumb strap. So the first thing I did was I decided to look at a couple of sheath options. Found an old Camillus leather sheath on eBay for $15 after shipping, and it fit the knife perfectly fine, but the thumb retention strap kind of just flops around and the belt loop was still pretty large, which would allow the knife to ride up, so it wasn't an option for me. Then I looked onto the Rat Cutlery website and I found an Eagle Industry sheath for the RC5. It fits the Becker perfectly fine. It's got a plastic insert to keep the knife from poking through the nylon, gives you 2 thumb retention straps, gives you a little utility pouch to keep a compass or survival equipment in. It has a Velcro belt attachment that allows you to take the sheath on and off your belt without removing your belt. And then it has a MOLLE strap that allows you to attach the sheath to a backpack or a load-bearing vest. It was only $40, but it still quite wasn't what I was looking for because it's so thick and it's kind of bulky. So I decided that I would try and modify the existing sheath. And here's a sheath that I already modified. First thing I did was I took some 550 cord and I soaked it in water so it would expand. And then I wrapped it around the plastic portion of the sheath. And what this did was when the 550 cord dried, it constricted against the plastic, and now it actually retains the knife without the use of the thumb strap. I cut off the drop-down belt attachment, and then I went to a sling shop and I had them sew in a seam through the nylon right here. And what that did was it eliminated this large belt loop. If you don't have a slingshot by you, maybe you can find a heavy enough gauge needle that you can just sew through the nylon, or you can try going to a shoe repair store and they should be able to sew the belt loop for you. But back to the purpose of doing that, now I wasn't going to have a problem with the knife rising up and poking me in the waist. And it also gave me the ability to wear it high using the lower loop, and it became more comfortable when getting in and out of a vehicle or kneeling down. Or if I'm wearing a backpack that has a low distribution strap, I can wear it on this loop and it leaves room for the strap. The other thing I did was I relocated the thumb strap. I drilled a hole all the way through both pieces of nylon and through the plastic. And then I had a piece of extra hardware from another Kydex sheath, and I inserted it into the loop so that it was only going through one piece of nylon. And then I reattached the thumb strap. And the reason I did that was so that I wouldn't lose the use of this second loop. The next thing I did was I decided to modify the knife itself. This is the original knife with the Gravois handles. And here's another BK2 with micarta handles from Tomar's K-Bar. I really like these micarta grips. They come lighter. They're a lighter tan from the factory. These have just been soaked by oil a couple times, so they've actually darkened up. The only problem with Tomar's grips is that since the knife is 1/4 inch thick, your original hardware won't work. You need screws that are just a little bit longer. Now, if you don't like Tomar's grips, St. Cutlery also makes micarta grips. However, they're a little bit different texture. Now, the plus about St. Cutlery's grips is he actually gives you the larger hardware for the knife so that you can use it to install on the 1/4 inch thick blade. And what I ended up doing was I just took the hardware from the St. Cutlery grips and used them on the grips from Tomar's, and I was able to attach them and perfectly fine. St. Cutlery has 2 different colors of grips. Tomar's only has 1. This is the brown or the tan from St. Cutlery, and this is the black. So back to the modified knife and modified sheath. This is what it finally looked like. And I don't have a large enough frame to squeeze in the original, but this was my modification that I made. And I'm very pleased with the knife. It's now my primary knife. I think if this was one tool that I could only take with me, this would be it. So thank you for watching my video, and be safe.